Live button. Pulling up my notes. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is Weekly Scrap number 157. Today's guest is Robbie Townsend. He's married to a wonderful woman, father to 2 sons, a little over 20 years on the job. He is a lieutenant at Ladder 3, Dalton Fire Department in Georgia. He has been in the training division, which he loved. Georgia Smoke Diver, number 722. Georgia Flames, number 32. FDIC Hot Instructor. Lead instructor for Dalton's Recruit School. Lead on search, RIT, firefighter survival, forcible entry. Honored to instruct with the Bears of the Oath. Most importantly, he still loves the job. My brother, Robbie Townsend, it is my pleasure to have you on as the guest of Weekly Scrap number 157.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man. People are logging in, checking in. Brandon Pfaff says, another heavy hitter, looking forward to this. Michael K. Sandola said, that's my COD, love him so much, and a real person. Yeah, Christopher Snow, looking forward to listening in on his point of view. Don Sapp says, love me some Robbie Townsend. Dude, you got some fans and some love coming at you.
Yeah, totally unworthy of that.
Awesome, man. Okay, anything I missed in the intro, anything you would like to add?
I think that's it.
Solid.
Sounds good.
I had a whole new computer built this week, and so I'm making sure if anything goes wrong, I'm blaming it on that, but everything seems to be working great. So far, so good. Where am I at? Right here. Vigilantes. Everybody, if you're tuning in, if you're listening on the podcast, Vigilantes, it's a private group you can join at firehousevigilance.com. It's a lot of fun. I hype it every show. So if you want to be a part of it, this month we are listening to Aaron Field's podcast when he was on the Journeyman Firefighter podcast, and we're discussing it live at the end of this month, and that's exciting. Every month we either read a book or listen to a podcast and discuss it. So if you want to be a part of that, go to firehousevigilance.com. Okay, housekeeping. This episode is brought to you by Key Hose. Check them out on Facebook, The Hose Experts. Elkhart Brass, a safe fleet brand. I love me some Elkhart nozzles. The Uncommon Fireman. These guys are getting it on, no doubt about it, man. Their page is growing like crazy. If you don't know about it, look for it on Facebook if you can get invited, because it is, you got to belong. They are very active. Anyway, and there are lots of plans coming for them. So, finally, Affordable Drill Towers, home of the Affordable Drill Tower and the Affordable Standpipe Prop. Firefighter, owned and operated. You can pump and roll using the Affordable Standpipe Prop. The Affordable Standpipe Prop will fit through most classroom doorways, and you can teach standpipe theory with the actual prop there, and then you can roll it out into the parking lot and actually pump to it. It comes with 6 standpipe valves that can be upgraded to PRVs or customized to match your jurisdiction and what you got going on there. Call Steve. He's amazing at 844-55-TOWER, or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. So there we go. Housekeeping and all the important stuff out of the way. Now we get to have fun. Robbie, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get right into it. Let me see if I'm missing anything coming at. Oh, we got even Dennis Laguerre said, let's go. Man, you got some, yes. Love Robbie. That comes from Shane Browder. He is the best, from Caleb Kraut. Dude, no hype. I mean, there's no hype for you at all. It's just coming.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to disappoint.
All right, beautiful. Okay, we're leading it off. Hey, get your questions in. I haven't heard from Kyle yet. Kyle usually grabs the questions. So, but for now, I'm looking at the questions, and get them in here if you want to ask Robbie a question. But me and him, we're going to kick it off with company level training. Let's start right there and see how far down a rabbit hole we can go. Talking to you, Robbie.
Okay, yeah. All right, what do you want to know?
Just company level training, man. You're passionate about it. You're fired up about it.
Yeah, that's kind of my passion. Me being a lieutenant is kind of my responsibility. You know, it doesn't rest on the training division, in my opinion, to make sure my guys are prepared. Because if the buck really stops for me as a company officer, you know. And company level training, it doesn't have to be hours long, you know what I mean? Because you're going to lose guys. You got other stuff going on during the day. You got to check hydrants. You got to do business inspections. You got to do all this other stuff. So, you know, if you get too far down that rabbit hole and it takes 2 or 3 hours, you're going to lose people. So I just try to keep my drills kind of short and sweet. I try to train on something every day. We got a little thing that we follow. Lee Humphreys, about a year and a half, 2 years ago at the County Fire Tactics Conference, he gave me a great little schedule to follow. And we kind of follow it whatever day of the week it is. So that helps. But ultimately it's my responsibility to make sure my guys are trained, and it is easy to sit back in the recliner, and there are days that I don't want to train, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
I'm tired, my back hurts, whatever. But it's my responsibility. We have a responsibility to the citizens, and man, it may only be 15 minutes, right? But 15 minutes multiplied by 10 shifts a month times a year, you know what I mean, can really add up. So
I'm a huge fan of consistency. I believe in consistency over intensity, although it doesn't mean you can't be intense. But
yeah,
consistency
absolutely.
wins. And as a lieutenant, you are a company officer, basically.
Yes.
I want to be clear, so because different rank structures, different places, but
Yeah.
I want to be clear on that. So when you say the buck stops with you, it's because you run that company.
Yeah, we're just a single company house. So,
and have you seen it, like where people say, well, training division hasn't given us anything to train on, so what are we supposed to do?
yeah, that's an excuse, And I think at a departmental level, training division has a responsibility. When I was in training, I tried to make sure all three shifts were kind of uniform in how we did stuff. And I think departmental wide training has a responsibility, but on a company level, I mean, it's up to that company officer. It's not up to the battalion chief or training division. It's on us. So
your level of readiness basically comes down to you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I believe I set the tone, right? It's easy to talk a big game, but if I don't back that up with some actions, then it's kind of worthless. So
absolutely. What are some of your keys? I mean, I don't want to get into leadership too much yet. Well, I mean, we're going to get there, but to get your guys to meet that like the departmental standard, is always a certain level,
yep.
And then a go-getter plugged in, GSD, flames. It doesn't matter about those, but obviously you have those. So if you have someone of that caliber as your company officer, obviously your standard is going to be a little higher. Just how do you get people to say, okay, I'm going to be above the departmental standard and join you on this vision you have?
Well, first off, I'm blessed with a great crew, and so I've never really had to spur anybody, which is great. But I think too, just if you let them know the why. Todd Shepard talked the other day about the why we need to be proficient at stretching lines, why we need to be proficient at throwing ladders and forcing doors and searching. You know what I mean? And I think if you let them know the why and why we do this, then you'll get buy-in from your people. Well,
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, they are coming. And you said the why, and I've been listening. Of course, we're listening to the Aaron Fields podcast with the Journeyman Firefighter podcast, one of my all-time favorite podcasts. But and listening to him, he talks about the why. And when you articulate the why, when you start with the why, especially instead of the how, and I'm paraphrasing Aaron Fields here, so that's always a dangerous thing to do because he's so articulate. But
smart guy,
no doubt about it. But he says whenever you bring in a new tactic and you understand the why, you can analyze the tactic without letting someone who doesn't use that tactic telling them they're wrong, because you're evaluating it compared to the why.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Absolutely. Now what we have, if we've always known that we need to turn out quickly, right? We need to build stretch lines quickly, force doors. But now, with the Firefighter Rescue Survey Project, we know that every second, as cliche as it sounds, every second that we waste is potentially taking minutes away from that potential victim inside, And to me, that's huge. They're doing a great thing. And now we've got some hard facts and data to back up.
Yes, the metrics are matching the mission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. We got Jack Ingram with the first question coming at you, and it's not a soft toss. So are you ready for this one?
Let's go.
How do you get, and it's a question that's repeated quite a bit. How do you get unmotivated members motivated to go out and train?
I'll
tell you, easy.
No, it's not. And Chief Rhodes, I've heard him say this at Smoke Divers several times. He's one of them. I mean, if that man out there can't motivate you, then your wood's wet. But David is great, and I've heard him say on more than one occasion at Smoke Divers is you be that guy. If you're the only one out there and you're throwing ladders by yourself or you're stretching lines by yourself, eventually those guys are going to be like, hey, man, what's he doing? And you might get one to come out there and watch, and then he may join in. You may get that once that one guy joins in, then another guy's probably going to come out there. Because, look, nobody really wants to be a slug. You know what I mean? At some point in time when you raised your right hand and said you wanted to be a fireman, you were motivated, right? And different circumstances can affect people's motivation. But I think just be that guy, be that squeaky wheel, and just go out there. And eventually you're going to get attention. And they're going to be like, man, what's he doing? Right. Or because it may be that they don't want to, right? They don't want to look bad. Who cares why they come out there as long as they come out there and start getting some reps. So hope that helped.
No, absolutely. It's a great answer. It is a great answer. I had one I wanted to pull at you because it feels like there's a story here. But basically it said something about, does dance-offs between you and your driver count as company training? It comes from Michael K. Sandoval.
Yeah, so that's a funny story. We try to do physical training in gear every shift, And my driver, we've known each other since high school. We played high school football together, so it's one of the reasons that my job's so easy because I can trust him, and he motivates me on days that I really don't want to. Days that I may want to take it easy, Right. But anyway, we had a dance off one day after we PT'd in gear. He beat me.
Okay, I was gonna say who won. That's the next question.
Oh, he beat me. Josh Peak destroyed me. We're gonna have a rematch.
When's the rematch? Are we gonna film it?
We will. We'll film
it. Okay. Dennis Laguerre said your wood is wet. Yep. Keep that nozzle open on advance. There you go. All right. Looking for it. Pulling up my notes back up because I got distracted by the dance-off. What do we get right in training, and where are we missing the mark? As a fire service, just according to Robbie, what's your take?
Man, I think a lot of times what we do get right with some people, and I'm going to relate this to all the conferences that are going on right now. There are so many conferences out there right now. And so I think in that aspect, we're doing that right because guys are getting to learn from dudes all over the country who get to do it a lot more. Like I get to go. I mean, for me to be able to sit and listen to Clyde Gordon or Mo Davis talk, I mean, it blows my mind that I even get to listen to those guys. So these conferences, we're doing some good stuff, right? But a lot of times I think we forget about the basics. You know what I mean? And to me, if we can just be brilliant in those basics, then we're going to be proficient on the fire ground. A lot of times we go down these rabbit holes of like making these drills super hard or, trying to get people to quit or whatever it may be. But I just think a lot of times we miss the mark on that. Number one is letting people know the why. And number two is just keeping stuff basic. If we can do the basics, if we can search, if we can throw ladders, we can force doors, if we can stretch lines, then we're going to be pretty good, And I like technical rescue. I'm somewhat of a technical rescue guy, but a lot of times I think people get so caught up in doing technical rescue because that's cool, That's
right.
That's sexy, right? I don't really care if you can build a 38-to-1 mechanical advantage and build a high line if you can't stretch a hose line or force your door. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to focus on the priority because we're still the fire service, So sorry if I offend any technical rescue gurus out there.
I struggle with
for you.
Figure 8 on a bite, and so build that foundation strong. That comes from Don Sapp. So I think it's a great answer. I'm going back here. Being a strong believer. This comes from Hugh Long. Being a strong believer. How do you use your faith to influence your leadership style as a company officer?
Well, I think it helps me not have an ego. Um, if you look at the life of Christ, there's probably no one else that was a better leader than him. So that's pretty good example to try to follow. And he said if you want to be first, you got to be last. So everybody wants to throw around servant leadership and stuff like that, but man, if you don't live that, if your people don't know that you care about them, then you can throw all the buzzwords you want to, and they're not going to buy into that.
That's pretty
So
straight.
yeah, and it's simple stuff. Like man, I try to let my guys take a shower before me. I try to be the last one to fix my meal. Uh, Fridays is yard day. Like I don't ride the riding mower. I weed eater. I push mow. And it's just little stuff like that. We can talk about servant leadership and but if you don't live it, man, then you're kind of sucking, in my opinion. So
Absolutely, man. No, I love it, man. Like you said, it's simple. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple.
yeah,
And man, it's strong. It's powerful, and the messaging is powerful. So powerful. All right, get my notes. Whoop, whoop. I keep closing them because I'm looking at stuff. Uh, Magic wand, no budget. All right, I love this question. I wanted to throw it at you. Magic wand, no budget. What would you do to fix training today? Doesn't have to be specific to your department, just in general.
oh, no budget.
And a magic wand, like you
Oh,
can't.
okay,
And no budget.
man. I'll tell you what. I would send every one of my guys to MAFC. I would send every one of my guys to the Water on the Fire, the county fire tactics. Man, there's just you get so much out of that, and you know that's pretty much it, man. There's so many people that are way smarter than I am out there teaching stuff that will make you a better company officer. They'll make you a better fireman. They'll make you a better incident commander. It's out there. You know what I mean? And you're not going to get it at the fire academy, in my opinion. Um, so if I had a magic wand and endless budget, man, I'd send people all over this country to conferences.
Right on. Right on. No, I love it. Uh, Younger generations in training. What's the difference that you have seen in your 2 decades of basically in the fire service? What changes have you seen in the generations? And a lot of people make it a big deal. Some people say it's not. What's your take on the generational differences? And is it just the same old, same as it's always been?
I think, I mean, 20 years ago when I came on, I'm sure the older guys said I suck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The difference is now is they can, if you're bullcrapping them, they can vet you in a heartbeat. They can pull their phone out and be like, hey, you're full of crap. So uh, I do think that you've got to slow down a little bit. And, when I was 18, when I first came on, I knew how to start a chainsaw. I knew how to start a weed eater. You've got kids now, 21 years old, that they don't know how, and that's not their fault. It's up to us to teach them. So like our recruit program, for example, used to in 2 days, we could cover ventilation. Well, now it's about 4 days because we got to teach them how to run a saw. And this is mixed gas. This is where it goes. And it's not their fault. You just got to be patient with them. It's just a different generation.
No, absolutely. I like
Can't
it.
just throw them off to the wayside and say they suck, because I'm sure somebody said that about me 20 years ago. But you just got to you got to believe in them, and they got to know you believe in them. So,
And that goes back to that messaging.
yeah.
Whitlax has a
Wit.
question. Whit has a question. Any words of wisdom on leading from the bottom up as one of the newer members of the crew?
So Witt's one of our guys we just got. He's squared away. Stole him from North Carolina. He's doing a great job, man. Just be that guy. Anytime you can train. Be hungry, stay hungry. Because you don't have to have a rank to be a leader. I've worked with some great senior guys that have no rank, and they were the leader of a firehouse. So I tell Witt just keep doing what he's doing because he's doing a great job. So
Love it.
he's hungry. He wants to get better. He listens. So I think he's on the right track. Glad we got him.
Beautiful. Jennifer Ashdown says, how do you handle the guy that can't take constructive criticism? They're throwing some curveballs and stuff, some fastballs.
Yeah. There's I don't know. Maybe it comes back to the why again. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times if we can explain why we do certain things or how certain things are done and the reason behind it, maybe you can reach them, you know. I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of I think you should leave your feelings at home when you come to the firehouse. And I don't mean like you don't put people down or whatever, but there's a time to be friends and then there's a time to do work. And I don't know, people that can't handle constructive criticism, you just kind of I don't know. That's tough. Maybe it all comes back to just, you know, maybe you got to handle them differently. Maybe you got to pull them off to the side, right? And maybe they don't like to be talked to in front of a crowd, or I guess you could pull them off to the side and tell them, talk to them. This is why we do what we do. Maybe that'll work. We're pretty fortunate here. Like most of our guys, especially my crew. My crew is we're rough with each other. You know, if I'm sucking, then my driver is going to tell me I'm sucking. You know, and I love that about him. And if he's sucking, I'm going to tell him he's sucking. You know, I can't. I've never really ran into that a ton where people can't handle constructive criticism. So,
how do you reach that? Because one thing you said earlier, you said we do a workout in gear every shift, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's an expectation, obviously, that you set. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I'm assuming that's not a standard that is put out by the department.
No.
That's above the department standard. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get that kind of buy? I mean, obviously, like you said, you have great guys. Obviously, you lead by example. But that, you know, what I don't know. I'm not trying to make it hypothetical. Because you have great guys, you don't have to ask the question, what do you do if you have a guy who won't do that on your crew?
You just keep, if he doesn't want to put gear on, then he don't have to put gear on, you know, but the expectation is you're going to do some physical training every shift, you know? Mm-hmm. And we've gotten guys at my house that maybe the company they were at before, they didn't do that. They didn't work out in gear. They didn't, but man, that's a lot of peer pressure when you got three dudes out there grinding away in full gear and you're the only one. So right. A lot of times that'll take care of itself.
No, it seems like because you got to be a special to resist that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
You got to really be disconnected.
Yeah.
No, I like it, man. Lead by example. That's very, very powerful. Shane Bentley said, I like work with 3 exclamation points. Basil, my man, Robbie is one of the most genuine guys out there. Yes, man, I agree. Oh, there's a lot of good comments coming at you. Burn a bottle every shift. Yes, that comes from Basil again. Don Sapp said, just show them that you are willing to help any way you can. Ask them, how can I help you? Man, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Uncle Don dropping wisdom for us, too.
Yeah, for sure. I talked to him about 5 minutes before we got on here.
Right on.
So he's one of the most solid dudes that I know.
Dan, I loved him the first time I met him, and he's an alumni of the Scrap, and so, yeah, good company. Christopher Snow wants to know, can you talk about the importance of stress-induced training?
Yeah, well, you know, when I went through flames and smoke divers, I really realized that your fine motor skills and your decision-making are totally different when you're tired, when you're sleep deprived. So, and I think there's a fine line when you're on duty. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, you can't work out in gear because you might catch a job later. You know, that's an excuse most people use. But, you know, like for us, like Mondays is Mayday Mondays for us, right? Tuesdays is raise them Tuesdays, we throw ladders. Wednesdays is wet Wednesdays. We flow water, stretch lines. Thursdays is for them Thursdays, and then fourth plate your Fridays. So, you know, one thing I like to do is after we PT and we're kind of fatigued and we're tired, then we kind of go into that training, right? And it's basic stuff, stretching lines or forcing doors or throwing ladders, but you're already a little tired.
Right.
And I think that's a huge advantage. Basil does some great stuff with his training, man. He's real a huge believer in that, and it makes a difference, because going back to smoke divers, anybody can do those drills when they're fresh, right? But when you've been hammered for 3 hours, then your decision making starts suffering a little bit. So I think
Absolutely.
it's very important. Very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's the best way you found to get that? Is it just strictly physical workouts and
That's
then do
how
the
I
training?
found. That's how I found it.
Okay.
For me, that works. Is just kind of get tired, and obviously I can't go out there and yell and scream at my crew. I mean, there's other ways to create that, but to me, just the physical training, kind of getting fatigued and tired, and then doing some stuff.
As close as you can get to the.
Yeah, because here's the thing, man. If you look, when things go bad on the fire ground, typically you're not going to be fresh. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to be tired, going to be a little bit fatigued. So if you can train to that point and then perform, then I think everybody's going to benefit from that.
I love it, man. I love it. Okay. Training. And if you got more questions on training, I'm not afraid to throw them at them. But I'm moving on to leadership. And I want to ask you biggest problems in leadership in the fire service, according to Robbie.
Oh man, I think a lot of times we don't. I don't know. We kind of lord over people instead of trying to influence them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, um, and I've literally seen officers walk past coffee spilled in the floor and tell a younger guy to clean it up. You know, like that is horrible. If listen, my man, I still scrub toilets if I have to. I don't care to scrub. I think some people they promote up maybe for the wrong reasons. They promote up because they want to get a pay raise, or they promote up because they want that power. And I think if your motivation is wrong, then you're going to be a poor leader. If that makes any sense.
No, it does absolutely. It all goes back to your motivation,
Yeah,
and the proof is in the pudding. And we spend way too much time together to fool anyone for any
you're
length of
not
time.
fooling anybody,
Right. You can
and
maybe
that's
do
one.
it for half a shift. Maybe you can pull it
Yeah,
off.
and honestly, that's one reason that I don't ride the riding mower at my firehouse. We probably got. It feels like we got 10 acres to mow, man, and uh, the boss that was there previous, he would get on a riding mower and kind of chill out all day while everybody else worked, and I just can't do that. And I think it goes back to uh, hearing my granddad talk. He was a NCO in the Army during the Korean War, and I remember him telling me stories. How many times he lost his stripes when a new lieutenant would come in and try to kind of rough his men up or whatever. And I don't know. I guess hearing those stories all the way back when I was a kid, that he stood up for his guys, and so I give my granddad credit for some of that stuff. If you're put in a leadership position, man, that's huge. And that responsibility is it's heavy. You know, and I don't know. I don't want to fail my men, and I want them to know that I love them, and you know, I'll get right down there with them and clean toilets or mop the floor. I'm not going to go hide in the corner while you work and sweat. So
Well, it sounds like you've had some good mentors growing up, obviously, in your grandfather, and I don't know who else. And then it also sounds like you've had some good examples of what not to do, i.e., the riding the lawnmower thing. That's obviously had an impact in how you mow to this day. Uh,
yeah.
what other lessons have you learned that attempt to pass on or employ uh, your leadership style?
uh, I don't like you said, just setting that example. I'm not going to ask someone to do something I'm not willing to do myself or that I can't do. And also, I think you got to be humble. I'm not the best guy at stretching hose lines. We have a guy on our shift who is great at it. Just because I'm a ranked officer doesn't mean that I'm the best at everything. And being humble enough to be like, look, this is not. I'm not good at this. I'll be honest with you. I suck at computer work. I mean, look at it. Josh Peak, my driver, he's listening right now. He's probably going to comment. He bails me out so much when it comes to computer work. I suck at it, but he helps me, and I'm grateful for that. And I just think just being humble and it's okay to rely on other people, even in a leadership position.
Love it, man. I love the trust and the teamwork and the relationships. Pulling up. I blocked my own computer screen. Okay, there we go.
You there?
I am here. I'm listening to you. I'm getting ready. I'm looking through my questions.
Okay.
Why is there so much? Why is so much personal and professional development? Am I losing you?
Yeah. Hold on, just a second.
All right. He's back. Guess who's back?
Hey, you there?
I'm here.
There
Can you hear
go.
me? All right.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. Yep, we're good.
All right, we're solid. Why is so much personal and professional development left to the individual to sink or swim?
I think sometimes on a departmental level we miss the mark. So, you can go to the fire academies, and I'm sure every state's the same, but you can go take all of the acting officer in charge and the STITCO and the PITCO, all this stuff. This does not prepare you to lead people, and it does not prepare you to make fireground decisions. Right, first arriving or in that car, in that command buggy. So I think a lot of times organizations miss the mark, and they want people to get these certifications or pieces of paper, but they're not. That does not prepare you. So I think that burden falls on the individual to go to conferences and try to learn and do stuff on their own. I just think a lot of times departments miss the mark on that.
Is it just because the piece of paper, the cert, whatever you want to call it, justifies I
think so.
The expenditure, the budget?
Yeah, maybe,
Okay.
Or it's promotional track.
I struggle with it too, because I don't have a good answer. I just struggle with trying to find the what to do about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a tough question,
Someone emailed me earlier this week and was asking me a question about finding a mentor. They don't have a mentor in their own department that they want to use, around them. So, what advice would you have for finding a mentor in that situation?
Man, I'll tell you where some of mine came from. Is going through flames and smoke divers. Man, you're one of my mentors now. Clyde Gordon, Mo Davis. These guys that I've met through these conferences that they don't even know that they've really impacted me probably, but I look up to them. So just get outside of the box and don't be afraid to go to these conferences. And there are tons of people out there that can mentor you, that are willing to mentor you, that they're there. You just got to seek them out. I've had great mentors here at the Dalton Fire Department. I started here when I was an explorer, 15 years old, and some great guys have made a huge impact on my career. So
beautiful. No, and you say Clyde and Mo. You say Clyde and Mo, man, two of the best. Absolutely. Joe Fisher wants to know, how do you keep an aggressive mindset in training and your leadership when the older crowd, the senior captains, the battalion chiefs, or the safety people in the puzzle palace of admin are more concerned with the fireman first safety culture?
I can't really answer that. Fortunately, we don't have that here. From our fire chief down, they expect us to be real firemen.
Nice.
And we've cultivated that here. It's always been here, but over the past several years, I've really seen a shift with the younger guys coming in. And it really is about the citizens, I can't answer that question because fortunately I don't have to live with that,
Right. No, you're blessed.
Here. Yeah,
you are blessed, man.
For sure.
J.R. Ashdown says, how do you stay motivated at a department where the leadership is toxic and continuously treats employees differently? Again, not your wheelhouse.
Man, yeah. I would say just remember why you're there, Listen, fire chiefs are going to come and go, right? And you're going to have good ones and you're going to have bad ones. I remember a battalion chief from here, retired battalion chief, said that being in public safety is like being on a roller coaster. You have your highs and your lows, and you just got to hold on. So, man, just remember why you're there. And if it's bad enough, then look for another department. You know, I mean, you don't want your career. You don't want to hate your job because of toxic leadership, you know. And I'm all about trying to hang in there and change your department. But, man, sometimes you just can't outlast them, and you got to go, you know. So.
No, it's solid, man. It's very solid. And you should absolutely have an expectation for your department. I think John Spear wrote an article on that, or a blog post or a Facebook post, and he said, you know, they have an expectation for you as an employee. You should absolutely have an expectation for your admin in your department.
Yeah, absolutely.
Devin Craig said, Dalton Fire Department is absolutely impressive. They are the definition of legit. So that's high praise coming from a very good man.
Appreciate it.
Tony, yeah. All right. Tony Nunez says, do you feel a mentor should be assigned on the job by those that know they are a good people, or do you feel a mentor should be someone you look up to based on your own opinion?
You know, I've thought about that. I'm kind of torn. I think it's a great idea to assign someone a mentor. But also, too, that guy that's assigned to be a mentor may not gel with the guy that he's supposed to be mentoring. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I think as a young guy, you need to seek out guys that, like I said earlier, we're not fooling anyone, you know. And look, I could have the title of a mentor given by my fire chief, and I could be a slug, you know. Right. I could be a feet off the floor at 4 o'clock guy, and then I could ruin this cat, you know. So I would say it's better just to seek somebody out and find them and hang out in their back pocket and learn all you can learn from them.
No, I like it. There's pluses to both sides, but like you said, there's negatives to one of them, especially if you're assigned and don't really give a crap.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Do you feel okay? Got that one. I wanted to get to this. Keep on closing my notes, but I need more monitors. That's what I need. I need like 2 more monitors. I like that. Obviously, with GSD and Flames, the next question may seem a little easy for you, but how important is tradition and legacy and everything that comes with that to you?
With those 2 programs, or just in general?
Just the fire service. You know.
Oh, man. Look,
and I'm not. You can answer about those 2 programs also, but no, I mean the question is directed at the fire service, and you can go whatever direction you would like.
I think we got to remember where we came from, you know, and if especially when you get these younger guys in that, you should be proud of your traditions and history. You know, like our department was established in 1888.
Nice.
So we've been around for a minute. We've got every chief that we've ever had, their pictures on the wall as you walk into our firehouse. We actually found our deputy chief a few years ago found part of our first aerial that we ever bought. It was like a 1903 C-grade 4-strong aerial. Found it in the building, man. We found the title, like where they bought it, so we got it hanging in headquarters.
That's pretty awesome.
I think that's huge, you know, tradition.
No,
and remember where you came from, because those guys paved the way for us, you know. And then the smoke diver tradition here has been huge. I mean, I think at one point, like 50% of this fire department were smoke divers.
Wow.
So that lineage runs deep here. And so, yeah, I think it's hugely important to remember where you came from. Man, I still love watching those old like videos from FDNY in the 70s where they're riding tailboard. And I mean, that's cool, you know. Just
no doubt about it, man.
Cool stuff.
One of my greatest moments, and I like to share the story almost every chance I get it to, is the 99 tornado came through. And so when I reported to duty, every rig was gone. Like there was one rig left in the stations. I want to say it was a 1972. I don't even know. I think it was an international maybe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I got to ride tailboard. Legit tailboard.
So it's cool. I got to do that. So I volunteered. I was a 2-hatter for probably 15 years. And So we used to ride tailboard on our tankers, our tenders. That was pretty cool. I'm probably the last generation that's under 40 that ever rode tailboard, and it
That is
was
awesome, man.
it
No,
was
yeah,
pretty,
it's
yeah,
it's it's a proud moment that you get to have that.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, I want to get to this post traumatic stress and the job. I want to hear your story. You said you wanted to
Okay,
give a little bit of your story, so just I don't know it, so I want to hear it.
yeah. So you know, 21 years old, 15 of those. I was a two-hatter. I volunteered on my days off, and I don't really think that my mind ever had a chance to just slow down. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Because I would see stuff at work. My 2 days off, I was running calls. I was a pretty busy company, and man, last year I think it was last March. I was super jumpy one shift, and Josh is a great driver. I've never worried about him at all. I was super jumpy, and I ate dinner. I went to take a shower, and next thing I remember, I walked in the kitchen, and I was half dressed, slurring my speech, really showing the signs of a stroke, is what they thought. So I got transported by EMS. They checked me for a stroke. That was clear. They checked me for any kind of bleed, and then they tried to say I had a seizure, and then I fought with them. I was like, I didn't have a seizure or whatever. They weren't going to let me drive for like 6 months. So I kind of knew after all that stuff was that we checked those boxes what it was. And man, my mind just, it had enough, and it shut my body down. So went and talked to some neurologists. They test after test after test, and they finally were like, man, you got post traumatic stress. And, it's real. And for me, like I never had nightmares or anything leading up to that. But after I had that event at work, it was a really, really, really dark time for me. That's when the nightmares started. And I didn't sleep for probably 2 months. And when I would close my eyes, I would either have an anxiety attack or I would start seeing, you know, kids from 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I'd start reliving all that. And so it took a while to get over that. It's crazy. It I guess you can only shove so much stuff into a bag before it ruptures. And looking back on it, I see where I had the symptoms of it. I was hyper vigilant. I constantly like worried about my kids. I wouldn't sit with my back to a door. It's just crazy stuff. But and I think I didn't talk to anybody about stuff, because there's that stigma we have where we don't
Sure.
talk about our feelings. I never talked to my wife about stuff. She'd asked me how my shift went. I told her it was great, and
Just normal
man,
calls. Normal calls,
yeah,
babe. Yeah.
yeah, normal stuff. And then, man, it hit me. And when it hit me hard, and some pretty dark days there. And I think, and it happened for a reason, man, because I've talked to some young guys here that have came up and been like, look, man, I'm struggling with some stuff, and they've got like 3 years on, 4 years. So, man, if I can help somebody, then I'm all about it. So we talk, and so that's where I was at. That's what
No,
happened
100%.
to me.
What now? Obviously, I'm not. I don't know the right term. I don't know if recovered or healed or what the term is. But
Yeah,
you seem very well adjusted as far as it goes. So I'm assuming you're past the worst of it.
yeah,
What
man,
has
yeah.
helped you get there?
By the grace of God, man, I'm a lot better. I talk now. And I remember leaving one doctor's appointment. I just broke down and I was crying. I just like unloaded on my wife, about stuff, about what the job, the stuff I've seen, and the worries and the fear. Like I just unloaded on her, and she's like, "Why have you never talked to me about this?" Because you don't want to burden people, right? And
Right.
she said something to me that struck me. She said, "If you can't talk to me, who can you talk to?" And she told me, she said, "You can tell me anything, and if I really don't want to hear what you're saying, I'll just act like I'm listening." So, and that's I talk to her. I talk to people, you know, um, and I think that's helped a lot.
How important has it been for you to be open? about it?
Man, I'm an open book. Anybody can ask me anything, because if I can help somebody, then it wasn't in vain. I'll tell anybody my story. And
Right on.
next run, Blake is doing some great stuff with mental health in the fire service. I've talked to him. He's doing some great stuff. So I think that when you look at the numbers, we lose more firemen to suicide than to any line of duty death.
No, without a doubt.
And I think we know that. We got to do a better job of getting rid of that stigma of being super tough and all that.
Rub
It's
some dirt
okay.
on it. Rub some dirt on it and keep on going. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you shouldn't have signed up for this job. You knew what you were getting. And I've heard it all,
Right.
but it's not normal for us to see some of the stuff we see. And I think to me, it wasn't just one single event. It was, I think, just a cumulative thing that added up over 20 years, because I can't go back to like one call and say, well, that triggered it, But I think we got to get rid of the stigma. We got to talk about it. Our organizations have to do a better job. Like this EAP, they don't understand. I mean, you can call your EAP and talk to a doctor that's never been in public safety. They don't know. I think organizationally we need to do better when it comes to mental health. So.
Michael K. Sandall says, it's legit. You never think that you would be there, but a simple trigger can send it down the rabbit hole. Robbie, did your military service also add to your PTSD with the runs at Dalton Fire Department, or do you feel like it played a part in it?
I'm not a veteran.
Okay. I didn't know if you had some insight that I didn't know.
Yeah. I wish I would have served, but I didn't.
That's one of my regrets. Sometimes
one of my regrets, man.
When I look back at life. Jimmy Johnson says, thank you for speaking about this. The stigma is definitely changing in the fire service. It helps when the senior guys buy into it. And I
Absolutely.
I think you got to, I think if there's one thing we can all do a better job of setting the example on, it is being willing to talk about the toll that this job can take. Like, let's just be honest about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's debilitating. I'm not saying we're broken. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying just be open about there's a cost, and let's talk about it.
There's a mental price we're going to pay, and there's a physical price we're going to pay. But
I think a spiritual even plays in there. I think all three. Mind,
Absolutely.
body, soul. Mind, body, soul. Matt Sleet said, my EAP counselor quit during my first appointment. I had to find someone who specialized in military, law, fire, EMS. Best decision ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
you got to talk to somebody that understands for sure,
No, if they don't, then it can actually do more harm than help.
Absolutely.
All right. I love books, man. I know you read.
Yeah.
So I like to talk about books. So hit me with what books that you think firefighters should be reading.
Oh, man. I'm a big Maxwell. Like him. This is a pretty good one. I actually brought a few. That's a pretty good one. If you can see it. It's,
21. Yeah.
That's good.
Irrefutable Laws, Indispensable Qualities. Yes.
Absolutely. It's pretty good. It's another Maxwell book.
Yes, 21 Irrefutable. Love
it. I'm a big military history guy just because I had so many family members that served. So Band of Brothers is great. You can take leadership lessons from there. Major Winters was he had it figured out. So
yeah, no doubt about it. He was dialed in.
Silence is a pretty good one.
Suffer in Silence?
Yeah.
What's that one?
It is it's a Navy SEAL book. Kind of talks about their training. It's pretty good.
David Reed. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Right now I'm reading Make Your Bed by Admiral McRaven. It's a pretty easy read.
Right. That's a firefighter-friendly book right there.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, because I got ADHD. It's hard for me to sit down and read anytime.
Even the truckies can make it through that one.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Lou Giglio, this dude, he's a Christian author. The Comeback. Okay. That's a good one.
Okay.
Just talks about struggles and so that helped me out a lot. Man, of course, John Norman Handbook of Tactics is great. Vincent Dunn, this is an old one, but it's pretty good. Command and Control, Emergency Incidents. That's a good one. Read it a time or two. Collapse of Burning Buildings.
Absolutely.
Good one. I'm reading. I just got Coordinated Ventilation.
Nice, Nicholas.
Started
Yeah.
it actually today. That's a good one. So those are a few.
Pretty nice stack you got there.
Yeah, and
Do you have a favorite book or most impactful book?
man, I try to read the good book every day. That's
That's
probably
fair.
one that
That's
sticks
fair.
back to me the most, for sure. So,
All right, Robbie, we have a thing we do each and every scrap. It's called the 5 questions for firefighters.
let's do it.
Now, we're currently at the next 5 questions for firefighters. The answers are 100% your opinion. There are no right or wrong, and the points
Okay.
are arbitrary and completely assigned by me with help from the audience. So, Robbie Townsend, are you ready for the next 5 questions for firefighters?
Ready.
Oh, and Josh Peak said IFSTA really big when you were suggesting.
That's an important one. I try to read it a lot.
When you were
A lot of
suggesting
good
books.
information.
All right. Number 1. What single characteristic makes the difference between a run-of-the-mill firefighter and the top-tier, go-to, badass firefighter?
All right. I think 2 things: passion and remembering why we're here, right? Because I'm nothing special, but I have passion for the job, and I try to remember the mission, why we exist as a fire service. If a guy's got passion and he understands why we exist, he can be a great fireman. Not saying that I am, but those are 2 great things right there that I think separate other people.
It's hard to knock, man, especially the why. If you have why in the passion, like you said, I'm not going to restate what you just said. That's a beautiful answer. And according to Lee Humphreys, absolutely, he gets max points on number 1. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice as a rookie, what would it be?
I don't expect myself out of everybody else. Does that make sense? When I was coming up, I was just full of piss and vinegar, and I still am about the job. But I would look at people that may have not have been into the job. They were good firemen, but when they left, they didn't spend those 2 days off thinking about fire like I do, you know?
Right.
And sometimes I judge those people, but they turned out to be great firemen. When they're here for 24 hours, they do their job and they do it well. So if I could go back, I'd be like, just give those guys a little break, because I expected everybody in the firehouse to be like me, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
No, I think it's especially when you're plugged in and you're passionate. When you have the passion and you're connected to the why, like your first answer, when you have those things, man, it's hard to fathom why other people don't feel the same way.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense, and very frustrating. So no, I completely feel where you're coming from on that. Number 3, what is your favorite training drill?
Man, I love teaching the Denver drill. I really do. That's just because of the impact that it could potentially have, you know.
Absolutely.
And even since Mark Langbart passed away, there's been several other occasions where guys just could not physically get a brother out of a window, you know. And so I really enjoy teaching that, because that it's something so simple, like I'm going to take this guy and get him out of a window, but, you know.
And when it's run right, it's a humbling drill, man.
Yeah, it is for sure. So I really enjoy teaching that.
I love it. No, I love yeah. And it has the parameters, there is a goal, parameters, and then go, you know.
Yep,
and then
absolutely.
I do, yeah. Number 4, what mistake have you learned the most from in your fire service career?
Oh man, this is gonna sound really stupid, but when I was a backstepper on an engine company, I totally screwed up a stretch. Right, first due fire. Battalion Chief Bray was my lieutenant at the time here, and man, I screwed it up. Like, we pulled up, working fire. There was a gate there. Instead of going through the gate, I stretched over a chain link fence. We ended up getting pinned down in the hallway because I screwed the stretch up.
Right on.
So that made a huge impact on me, and I vowed again to never screw up a stretch. As crazy as that sounds, that I've learned so much from that one mistake right there, and I still talk about it today.
My question to you is, have you ever messed up one that bad? I mean, obviously we all mess up at some point in the future.
Yeah.
But have you ever messed up one that bad again?
No.
That's awesome. No, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Thankfully.
100% max points on that. When it sticks out in your brain that well. Final question, one of my favorites, heavy fire, searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
Man, first in on VES all day.
I kind of figured.
Yeah.
I kind of,
And look, I'm not taking anything away from the engine guys, like us, but I'd rather be in there on that search because, it's data driven now. The faster we can get in there and perform a search and get them out,
oh, there's no doubt,
the greater chance those civilians have to survive. So, VES all day, baby.
VES each and every day. I love it. That's max points for question number 5. I love it, man. And with that one being done, that makes it officially 157 scraps in the books. My brother, Robbie Townsend, how can people get a hold of you, get more info from you, talk to you, reach out to you?
Man, hit phone number 706-264-2870. Emails Robbie Townsend at ymail.com. It's the letter Y. It's about a 25-year-old Yahoo account. A lot of people think it should be a G, but it's Y. Robbie Townsend at ymail.com. And, man, I'm here for anybody that needs anything. So
I love it. When I first was going to email you the scrap info and everything like that, I was going to ask you, did you mean Gmail?
Yeah, I think you did. As a matter of fact,
I might have.
I answer that question all the time. I've had that email address since I was probably in high school. Just never changed. So, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, there you go. Everybody, go to firehousevigilance.com. You get the hats, the T-shirts, the swag, the coins, the book. The new book, I don't have a copy of it in here to show off. I just, literally 20 minutes before we went live, was able to order the new proofs of the 9Ls. Those are supposed to be here on Sunday. If they look good, then I'm ordering the actual book. So I'm really excited because it's finally close. It had a whole nother distillation of rewrite on it, and so I'm really excited because the book is finally going to hit. I was hoping to get it out in August, but the rewrite we just did on it, the edit, really, really made it pop. It needed it. The Vigilantes is live, man. We're getting ready to, this month we're having our 4th forum where we get together and discuss stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It's very open. There's 20 of us in there talking at a time. I don't know when we grow bigger how many more people we can fit in there. We're going to find another way to do it. But for now, we get in there and we all just discuss podcasts and books, and it's a good time. If you want to be a part of that, go to firehousevigilance.com. We're discussing Aaron Fields on this one at the end of the month on September 28th, I think, and some of his podcasts and his teaching philosophy, because if you don't know, he's a genius when it comes to teaching firefighters. Thank you for your support of the Scrap. Yeah, the Scrap's killer lineup of 2022 continues. We had Mike Dugan last week, Robbie Townsend this week, Dina Ali next week, then Chad Bootsine, Bill Gustin, Jay Bonifield, then Grant Schwabe. I mean, it's a killer. It just gets better and better. I'm the luckiest guy in the fire service because I get to sit here and have these conversations. I say it at the end of every podcast. If you like the Scrap, man, please go and rate it where you listen to the podcast. Not necessarily Facebook, not for the live, but if you listen to it in podcast form is what I'm talking about. Give it 5 stars. That's the important part. 5 stars, okay? But and then rate it, review it if it allows you to. But send me a screenshot of it, and I'll send you the sticker pack. I'm bribing you for reviews because it really does help spread the word of the Scrap. Send me a screenshot of it. I don't care where you do it. Facebook, Instagram, email. You can text me if you have my number. I will send you a sticker pack. And who doesn't? Your Yetis and your coolers and your refrigerators and your helmets need stickers. So I'm there for you. Go rate the podcast. If you know of anyone that might be interested in being a sponsor on the Scrap, there is one slot available for next week's show with Dina Ali, and I think that's the only slot available for quite some time. So reach out. They can be sponsors like Keyhose, Elkhart Brass, Affordable Drill Towers, and tonight, of course, the Uncommon Fireman, man. Unbelievable. My brother, Kyle Romagus, as always, pulling out the questions from the audience. The audience is 100% what makes the Scrap such a fun place to be a part of. So thank you for being here and tuning in tonight. Robbie, thank you for being such a phenomenal guest.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Totally an honor. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks for sharing your evening with me and your story, brother. I really, really do appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for tuning in live. Love you all. Remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tone stays silent. unless it's burning. Everybody stay safe out there.